Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Let me ask you something that most men are too afraid to ask themselves. What if the woman you're thinking about right now is already falling in love with you, and you simply don't recognize the signs? Because the truth is this: when a woman truly begins to fall in love, she rarely announces it. She doesn't wave a flag, she doesn't make a dramatic confession. Instead, her emotions leak out quietly, through small behaviors most men completely overlook. And that's exactly why so many men miss the moment when love is actually beginning. Before we go deeper, take 1 second to subscribe and like the video, because the things we talk about here are the kind of psychological truths most people never explain clearly. And if you're serious about understanding female psychology and improving your relationships, this channel is for you. Now listen carefully. A woman falling in love is not loud. It's subtle, it's quiet, it's emotional gravity pulling her closer to you without her even realizing it. And the first sign begins in a place most men misunderstand: attention. When a woman starts falling for you, something shifts in the way she observes you. She begins to notice things about you that others completely ignore. The way you react when you're stressed, the tone of your voice when you talk about something you care about, the little habits you don't even know you have. Suddenly, you're not just another guy in her world. You become someone she studies, not in a calculated way, in an emotional way. Her mind becomes curious about you. She remembers details you mentioned weeks ago, a random story you told, a goal you talked about, even small preferences like your favorite food or music. Most men assume this is just friendliness, but psychologically, it's something deeper. Attention is emotional investment, and women are extremely selective with where they place their emotional attention. When a woman starts mentally cataloging your life, your behavior, your moods, and your dreams, it means her brain has begun assigning value to you. And value is the seed where love quietly grows. But here's where it gets interesting. When a woman is falling in love, she often tries to hide how much she's paying attention. She'll pretend she forgot something, then later casually bring it up again. She'll notice when you're not yourself, even if you never told her something was wrong. And that's not coincidence. It's emotional awareness forming around you. You see, love in the early stages doesn't scream, it listens. And if a woman in your life is quietly paying attention to who you are when no one else is watching, you might already be far more important to her than you realize. The second quiet sign a woman is falling in love with you appears in the way she begins to make space for you in her life. And most men miss this completely, because they're usually looking for dramatic gestures, big emotional confessions, grand romantic moments. But real emotional attachment grows differently. It grows through access. When a woman starts falling for a man, something subtle happens in her routines. Her schedule, her time, her mental space slowly begin to shift around him. You might notice she suddenly becomes more available to talk. She responds a little faster. She checks in with you more often than she used to. Not in a desperate way, in a natural way. It's almost like your presence has quietly become part of her daily rhythm. And psychologically, this is extremely important. Time is the most valuable resource anyone has. When a woman willingly gives more of her time to you without you asking, it means your presence is emotionally rewarding for her. She enjoys the feeling of connection. But there's another layer here most men don't understand. When a woman begins making room for you, she also begins letting you see more of her real self. Not the polished version she shows everyone else, the human version. She'll share more about her thoughts, her past experiences, the things that made her who she is. Sometimes even the parts she usually protects. This is vulnerability. And vulnerability only appears when emotional safety begins forming. A woman does not open her inner world to a man she doesn't trust, and she definitely doesn't do it with someone she sees as temporary. So when you notice a woman slowly letting you into her real life, her real thoughts, her real emotions, her real time, it means you're no longer just an option. You're becoming significant. But there's something even deeper happening. When a woman is falling in love, she doesn't just include you in her present. She begins imagining you in her future, not necessarily in dramatic ways, but in subtle ones. She might mention events weeks away and casually include you. She might ask about your long-term plans with genuine curiosity. She might talk about things she hopes to experience someday, and naturally picture you being part of them. And often she won't even realize she's doing it. Because love, in its early stages, doesn't feel like a decision. It feels like comfort, like your presence belongs there. So if a woman is quietly making space for you in her world, her time, her thoughts, her conversations, understand something powerful. She's not just spending time with you, she's emotionally rearranging parts of her life to keep you close. The third quiet sign a woman is falling in love with you appears in something incredibly simple, but incredibly powerful. Her emotional reactions to you begin to deepen. At first, when a woman meets a man she likes, the connection feels light, playful, easy. Conversations are fun, but they don't carry much emotional weight. But when real feelings begin forming, something changes beneath the surface. Your words start to matter more. Your opinions begin to carry emotional impact. And suddenly, the way you treat her affects her mood in ways she didn't expect. Now, this doesn't mean drama. It doesn't mean conflict. It means emotional sensitivity. If she's falling for you, she becomes more aware of how you see her. Compliments from you feel more meaningful. Encouragement from you feels more powerful. Even small moments of appreciation stay in her mind longer than they normally would. Why? Because when a woman begins to love a man, his perception of her becomes important to her identity. She starts wondering what you think about certain things she says. She hopes you notice her effort. She pays attention to whether you seem proud of her. This is emotional attachment growing quietly. And here's where it becomes really interesting. When a woman is falling in love, your absence begins to affect her too. If you disappear for a while, she notices. If you're distant, she feels it. Not in a dramatic way, but in a subtle emotional shift that she can't ignore. Suddenly, your attention becomes something she values. And when someone values your attention, it means your presence has emotional weight. But here's the key insight many men never understand. Women rarely show this shift directly. Instead of saying, "You matter to me," her behavior reveals it. She becomes slightly more thoughtful around you. She might ask deeper questions. She might care a little more about how conversations end. She might even try harder to keep the connection positive and smooth. Because emotionally, she's protecting something that has started to matter to her. And the strange thing about love is this. The person who begins caring first often tries the hardest to hide it. But emotions are difficult to conceal forever. Eventually, they leak out through tone, reactions, and attention. So if you notice that a woman reacts to you with a level of emotional awareness that feels deeper than casual interest, there's a strong possibility something much more meaningful is quietly forming beneath the surface. The fourth quiet sign a woman is falling in love with you shows itself through something incredibly revealing. She begins prioritizing your emotional comfort. Now, this might sound simple, but psychologically it says a lot about what's happening inside her mind. When a woman starts developing deeper feelings, your emotional state begins to matter to her more than it used to. She notices when you're tired. She senses when you're stressed. She can hear subtle changes in your voice that most people would completely miss. And instead of ignoring it, she responds. Maybe she asks if everything is okay. Maybe she checks in later. Maybe she tries to lighten your mood with humor or kindness. But the important part isn't the action. It's the intention behind it. A woman who is emotionally invested in you begins to feel connected to your well-being. Your happiness affects her mood. Your struggles trigger her empathy. And this is something women rarely do for men they see as temporary. Because emotional energy is precious. When a woman invests it into someone, it means that person has become meaningful in her world. But there's another layer here most men completely overlook. When a woman is falling in love, she often becomes more supportive of your ambitions and goals. She becomes curious about the things that drive you. She asks questions about your work, your plans, your ideas, not because she's making conversation, but because she genuinely wants to understand the direction your life is moving. Why? Because subconsciously, she's evaluating how her life could align with yours. She's trying to understand the man you're becoming. And when she believes in your potential, something powerful happens. She starts encouraging you, supporting you, sometimes even defending you when others doubt you. This is one of the strongest emotional indicators of love forming, because when someone truly believes in you, they emotionally invest in your future. And that kind of belief doesn't happen casually. It happens when admiration grows into attachment. So if a woman consistently shows concern for your emotional state, supports your goals, and wants to see you succeed, understand what you're witnessing. You're not just seeing kindness, you're seeing emotional alignment. And emotional alignment is one of the quiet foundations where real love begins to grow. The fifth quiet sign a woman is falling in love with you appears in the way she begins to trust you with parts of herself she doesn't normally show. Every person has layers, public layers, where we show confidence, humor, and strength, and private layers, where doubts, insecurities, and past experiences live. Most people guard those deeper layers carefully, but when a woman begins to feel emotionally safe with a man, something shifts. She starts letting him see behind the curtain. She might talk about a difficult experience from her past. She might share fears she rarely admits out loud. She might open up about things she's still trying to figure out in her life. And when she does this, she usually watches your reaction very closely. Not because she expects you to fix anything, but because she wants to know if you're someone she can trust emotionally. Trust is the doorway to love. And for many women, emotional trust is even more important than attraction. Because attraction creates excitement, but trust creates security. And security is what allows real feelings to grow. Here's something many men don't realize. When a woman trusts you with vulnerable information, she's also giving you emotional power. She's allowing your response to shape how safe she feels around you. If you listen with patience, she relaxes. If you respect her honesty, she opens up more. If you show understanding, her emotional connection deepens. But if you dismiss or minimize what she shares, the door quietly closes again. That's why the men who understand emotional presence are often the ones women fall for most deeply. Because they create an environment where a woman feels seen rather than judged. And when someone feels truly seen by another person, something powerful happens inside the human brain. Attachment forms. So if a woman is slowly revealing parts of herself that most people never hear about, you're witnessing something extremely significant. She's not just talking, she's trusting. And trust is one of the clearest signs that her feelings for you are becoming something much deeper than simple attraction. The sixth quiet sign a woman is falling in love with you is perhaps the most powerful one of all. She begins to let her guard down around you. Now, this may sound simple, but emotionally it's one of the biggest transformations that can happen in human connection. At the beginning of most relationships, people are careful. They choose their words carefully. They present the best version of themselves. They try to appear confident, interesting, attractive. But when real emotional comfort forms, something slowly changes. The performance fades. A woman who is falling in love no longer feels the need to constantly impress you. Instead, she feels safe being real. You'll notice moments where she's more relaxed around you than anyone else. She laughs more naturally. She shares random thoughts without overthinking them. Sometimes she'll even show sides of herself that aren't polished at all. Maybe she talks about a silly habit she has. Maybe she admits something embarrassing from her past. Maybe she simply sits quietly with you without feeling the need to fill every second with conversation. And that quiet comfort is extremely meaningful. Because emotional safety is rare. Most people spend their entire lives searching for someone they can simply be themselves with. And when a woman finds that feeling with a man, her mind begins associating him with peace, with home, with emotional stability. That's when love stops being just a feeling and starts becoming a bond. But here is the final truth most men never hear. When a woman falls in love, she rarely does it all at once. It happens slowly, quietly, moment by moment, through attention, trust, emotional safety, shared time, and growing comfort. Each small experience builds on the last until one day she realizes something powerful. Her heart has already chosen. So if you recognize several of these quiet signs in a woman in your life, pay attention. Because love doesn't always arrive with dramatic declarations. Sometimes it arrives softly, hidden inside the way someone looks at you, listens to you, supports you, and slowly lets you see the person they truly are. And if you've made it this far, tell me in the comments, have you ever realized someone was falling in love with you only after it was already happening? And don't forget to subscribe for more insights into relationships, psychology, and the hidden dynamics between men and women.